I trusted him more than anyone in my life, more than my friends, more than myself. And that's the part that hurts the most now. Because when you trust someone that deeply, you don't just give them your heart. You give them your sense of safety. You give them your peace. You give them the power to hurt you in ways no stranger ever could. That's why the silence scared me more than any fight ever could. Fights mean someone still cares enough to argue, still cares enough to explain, still cares enough to stay in the conversation. Silence means something else entirely. Silence means they've already left emotionally, even if their body is still there. That night, he didn't call. No message, no excuse. No quick "I'm busy" or "I'll call you later." Nothing. He didn't explain. Didn't ask how my day was. Didn't ask if I was okay. Didn't even care enough to pretend. And deep down, I felt it. That quiet, painful truth no one wants to admit out loud. The kind of truth your heart recognizes before your mind is ready to accept it. Something was already broken. Not suddenly, not loudly, not in a way you can point to and say, "This is where it ended," but slowly, silently, piece by piece. And once something breaks that way, it doesn't snap back together. It just keeps cracking until one day you're holding fragments and wondering when it all slipped through your fingers. So let me ask you something, and don't answer out loud if you're not ready. Have you ever felt lonely while being in a relationship? Because that kind of loneliness hits different. It's not the kind you feel when you're alone in a room. It's the kind you feel when you're lying next to someone who used to feel like home and suddenly feels like a stranger. We weren't perfect, but we were real. At least, I thought we were. We had flaws, misunderstandings, bad days where everything felt heavy and nothing made sense. But we also had laughter that felt honest. The kind of laughter that comes from knowing someone deeply, the kind that fills the room and makes you forget about the outside world for a moment. We talked late into the night, not because we had to, but because we wanted to. Sometimes about everything, sometimes about nothing at all. We talked about where we came from, the struggles that shaped us, the things we never told anyone else. We talked about where we wanted to go, the future we imagined, the life we said we'd build together. Those conversations made me believe in us. They made me believe we were solid, that no matter what happened, we'd face it side by side. We shared dreams like they were already plans. Simple dreams, not flashy, not perfect, just peaceful. A future where trust mattered more than appearances, where honesty meant more than comfort, where love wasn't something you questioned every day. When people doubted him, I defended him, even when it made me uncomfortable. When they questioned his intentions, I stood in front of him. I chose him, every time. I believed in him even when he struggled to believe in himself. I carried his doubts like they were my own. I protected his image like it was something sacred. I was loyal without asking for proof. Because I believed loyalty meant forever, I gave trust freely. Not because he demanded it, but because I believed love meant honesty. I never checked his phone, never questioned his stories, never felt the need to double-check his words. It never crossed my mind that the person I trusted the most could be the one quietly hurting me. Looking back now, that trust feels heavy. Not because it was wrong, not because I regret giving it, but because it was one-sided. I had no idea I was loving someone who was slowly walking away, smiling in front of me, laughing with me, holding my hand, while leaving behind pieces of us without ever saying goodbye. And the scariest part, I didn't notice it happening. Not at first, because he didn't change all at once. That's how I missed it. If he had become cold overnight, I would have seen it. If he had stopped caring suddenly, I would have felt it immediately. But that's not how it happened. It happened slowly. So slowly that every time something felt off, I explained it away. His replies started coming late, sometimes minutes, sometimes hours. And when they came, they felt empty, short, disconnected, like he was replying out of habit, not interest. He smiled at his phone more than he smiled at me. Not a big smile, not an obvious one, just a quiet smile. The kind you don't notice unless your intuition is already awake. His phone was always face down, always locked, always just far enough away that I couldn't see the screen. Little things, small details, the kind you ignore when you don't want to believe something is wrong. When I asked simple questions, he avoided my eyes. When I asked harder ones, he brushed them off. You're overthinking. You worry too much. Don't you trust me? Those words hit harder than I realized at the time. Because instead of questio, I started questioning myself. I wondered if I was being insecure, if I was imagining things, if I was the problem. So I stayed quiet. Not because I believed him, but because I was scared of losing him. I chose peace over truth, comfort over clarity. I told myself, love means patience. That trust means staying silent when things feel uncomfortable. But silence doesn't save relationships. It doesn't fix distance. It doesn't heal confusion. Silence only gives liars more space to hide. And while I stayed quiet, the distance between us kept growing. He was still there, but he wasn't present. Still talking, but not listening. Still touching, but without warmth. I could feel him slipping away, and I didn't know how to stop it. Then the truth came. Not with shouting, not with a fight, not with a dramatic confession. It came quietly, and that's what made it hurt the most. One message, that's all it took. One name I didn't recognize, one tone I couldn't ignore. I stared at the screen longer than I should have, hoping there was another explanation, hoping I was wrong, hoping my heart was lying to me, but it wasn't. There it was, clear, undeniable, one lie too many. And in that moment, everything made sense. The late replies, the hidden smiles, the silence. He wasn't confused, he wasn't lost, he wasn't struggling, he was cheating, and coming home to me like nothing had happened. Looking at me with the same eyes, speaking with the same voice, sleeping beside me without a single sign of guilt. That realization didn't explode inside me. It collapsed. Slowly. My heart broke in quiet pieces, one realization at a time. But in that same moment, something else happened. My mind finally woke up, and that's where everything began to change. My tears didn't fall right away. That surprised me. I thought I would break down the moment I knew. I thought my chest would tighten, my voice would shake, my hands would tremble, but none of that happened. Instead, everything went quiet. Not peaceful quiet, the kind of quiet that comes right before a storm, the kind where your heart stops racing because it finally understands the truth. I looked at him differently after that. Not with love, not with anger, with clarity. For the first time, I stopped seeing the version of him I created in my head and started seeing the person standing right in front of me. And once you see someone clearly, you can't unsee it. I didn't cry in front of him, not once. I didn't raise my voice, didn't accuse him, didn't ask questions I already knew the answers to. I didn't give him the satisfaction of watching me fall apart. Instead, I watched him. I listened to every word he said, not to feel close to him, but to understand how easily he lied. I noticed how smooth his excuses sounded, how confident he was when he thought he was in control, how natural dishonesty had become for him. And the more I listened, the more I realized something terrifying. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't scared of losing me. He was comfortable lying, comfortable pretending, comfortable believing I would never leave. So I let him think he had won. I smiled when he smiled. I laughed when he joked. I nodded when he spoke. I played my role perfectly. Because when someone believes they've fooled you, they stop being careful. They reveal everything. I paid attention to the details I used to ignore. The way he changed his tone when certain names came up. The way he checked his phone when he thought I wasn't looking. The way his stories didn't line up anymore. Little cracks everywhere. I didn't rush. I didn't want chaos. I didn't want drama. I didn't want a loud ending that would leave me empty. I wanted clarity. I wanted to walk away knowing I was right. Knowing I didn't imagine it. Knowing I didn't overthink it. So I planned my exit slowly, quietly. Not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. Because real revenge isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't explode. Real revenge is calm. It's patient. It waits. And when the moment is right, it lets the truth do all the damage on its own. Days passed, then weeks. And with every day, he grew more careless. He thought I was blind. He thought I was weak. He thought my silence meant forgiveness. He had no idea my silence meant observation. I gathered everything, not aggressively, not obsessively, just enough to know the full story, enough to understand the pattern, enough to see the lies stack on top of each other, enough to know this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, a repeated one. And once I accepted that, the pain shifted. It stopped being sharp. It became focused. I wasn't heartbroken anymore. I was done. When the truth finally came out, it didn't happen the way he expected. There was no scene, no yelling, no emotional breakdown. I didn't expose him in anger. I exposed him in daylight, calmly, clearly, not just for him, but for everyone who believed his image, everyone who trusted his words, everyone who thought they knew who he was. I didn't have to exaggerate. I didn't have to add anything. The truth was enough. Piece by piece, his story collapsed. The lies didn't match anymore. The timelines didn't line up. The excuses fell apart in seconds. You could see it on his face. That exact moment when confidence turns into panic, when someone realizes they're exposed and there's no way to talk their way out. His image shattered, not because I tried to destroy it, but because it was never real to begin with. He stood there, silent. No defense, no explanations, no charm left. For the first time, he had nothing to say. And that's when it hit him. Betrayal always comes with a price. And the bill always arrives when you think you've gotten away with everything. As I watched him stand there, speechless and exposed, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Power. Not the kind that comes from hurting someone, but the kind that comes from truth. The kind that comes from choosing yourself after being chosen last for so long. That was the moment I took myself back, and I didn't need to say another word. I walked away. Not dramatically, not angrily, just finally. I lost someone I loved, someone I trusted, someone I once thought I couldn't live without. And for a while, that loss felt unbearable. Some mornings were heavy, some nights felt too quiet. There were moments I missed the idea of him, the version of him I believed in. But slowly, something changed. The weight I had been carrying for so long started to lift. I stopped questioning my worth, stopped replaying his lies in my head. I began to breathe again. Walking away wasn't easy, but staying would have destroyed me. And with every step forward, I felt stronger. Not louder, not colder, just clearer. Clear about what I deserved. Clear about what I would never accept again. I didn't walk away angry. I walked away free. And that freedom taught me something important. Betrayal doesn't break you. It reveals you. It shows you how deeply you can love, how strong your heart really is, how much you're willing to give without conditions. And it also shows you something even more important: who deserves access to your heart and who never did. Never beg for honesty. The right person won't make you ask for truth. Never ignore your instincts. That quiet feeling inside you isn't weakness, it's awareness. The truth always comes out, sometimes slowly, sometimes quietly, but it always finds its way to the surface. And when it does, it doesn't just change the story, it changes you. You walk away wiser, stronger, and finally, at peace.